competent gentlemen who will do justice, where they're going to look at every segment of the Buhari administration. So join me in welcoming Feyi Fawehinmi. You're welcome.
Thank you, Kayode. Thanks for having me.
And Rosanwo, Babatunde, you're welcome.
Thank you, Kayode.
And let's go straight to Abuja. In Abuja, we have Aisha Yesufu. Yeah, Aisha is a convener of Bring Back Our Girls. Good evening, Aisha. Hello, good evening, Aisha.
Good evening, Kayode.
Okay, it's good to have you. How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, Aisha, we're just going to start from you. Before we go straight into the Buhari administration, we're going to show our viewers a short clip you made. And a lot of people are quite upset. They are angry. They feel you've been extremely insensitive. They wonder why you should come out with such a statement calling on Nigeria's president to resign. Quite a number of people actually inboxed me when they knew you were going to come on this program and said, please just ask her what is her business, what does she have against President Buhari. So for the benefit of our viewers in the UK, we want our viewers in the UK to have a short look about what you posted online. The video went viral. So if that clip is ready, we're going to have our viewers just watch what Aisha said to the Nigerian people about President Buhari.
When are we going to realize that this acting president thing is just not working out? It's really not working out. Things are stagnating in Nigeria. For crying out loud, the president is sick. The president is not capable of discharging his duties as president. Why can't he resign? Sickness can be on anybody. Nobody is wishing the president bad. The fact that he's sick doesn't mean that he's going to die today or tomorrow. Somebody that is as healthy as I am right now can drop dead. It's life. We've kept crying out loud. For how long are we going to stay and wait and keep watching everything go in disarray? Who is going to sign the budget? We don't know. The report on Babatunde, what's happening to it? Why are we being held to ransom? President Muhammadu Buhari, for crying out loud. You have gotten the best in this world. A lot of things that you have, most people cannot even dream to have that. For most people, it's even just a dream. Some cannot even afford to dream. You have been president twice. You said it yourself. You have reached the peak of your career as a military man and as a politician. For crying out loud, President Muhammadu Buhari, can you allow each and every one of us, 140 million Nigerians, is it 170 or whatever number we are, be able to have the opportunity to equally reach the peak of our careers? It's not about you, Mr. President. Can you just take some time off? Take care of yourself. May God give you good health. May God let it be kafara for you. What you're going through, it's God sent. People go through that in different ways. But please, Mr. President, do not allow this keep the rest of us in bondage. And the rest of Nigerians, it is time we wake up. The acting president can't do anything because he wants to be seen as a good man. We need to take our country back. For crying out loud, let the president resign. If he can't resign, let the National Assembly do the right thing and let's have another president. It's not about President Muhammadu Buhari. It's about Nigeria. And right now, Nigeria is suffering. And we cannot continue to allow this. Please, we have a lot of people who are supposed to be sacked. They can't be sacked because
Aisha, I saw such passion. Now the question is, the president left the country. He handed over to Vice President Oshibajo. He's done everything humanly possible. Why? Some will say you're just being a busybody. What's the problem? You know, you're just drawing attention to yourself. Why would you distract this government from delivering what they promised Nigeria? At least the institutions are working.
Thank you very much, Kayode. I think that video was self-explanatory. I said all I needed to say in very plain English, and I'm sure we all understood. I speak 3 languages and Pidgin. Maybe that will make that 4 languages. And I did that video in all of those languages that I could. And I think it's very self-explanatory. And for me, it's what I felt. People say, why did you? Why? What business do you have? Oh, are you dabbling into politics? I'm like, I'm a citizen of a nation. Kayode, I have a son who is 18 right now. He can vote with me. He can stand and decide whom he wants to choose different from me. I have an adult.
Yeah.
I have a daughter who is 15. She too will soon be an adult, will be able to vote. And I said to myself, what kind of Nigeria am I going to give them? So when people say, what stake do I have? This is not about politics. This is about governance. This is about me wanting my son to have a better Nigeria than I was handed over to. When I was 18, the Nigeria I got, I want my son to get much more than that, and for him to be able to compete everywhere. And so that video, as far as I'm concerned, I made it.
Okay, let's look at the
and that's it.
Let's look at the content. You said everything is on the standstill. What's on the standstill? The vice president is acting, is having meetings, is received the budget, is acting on it. What else do you want to happen?
Well, basically, like I said the other time, I said the video is quite explanatory, and I did mention some of the things. You remember, as of that time, when that video came out, there were two government officials that were talking about the fact that the budget couldn't be signed. Let's not forget that was when I did that video.
Okay.
We had one who said, a minister who came out to say that, the presidency would decide on it.
Yeah.
And we had another Italian who was saying that it's the president that will sign, not the acting president. Though later he came to reverse and explain what he meant by that. So when you have things like that, I mean, that tells you everything.
Okay.
That tells you that it's not the way we think it is. The way it seamlessly should have gone when we were talking, that's not the way it's going.
Okay, hold on, Aisha. Let me bring in Feyi Fawehinmi in first here. Feyi, I'm going to ask you, this is 2 years of the Buhari presidency. How would you rate this presidency?
It's been disappointing. I mean, personally for me, it's been disappointing. If I struggle, maybe I'll give them 5 over 10. And to be honest, that's pushing it. I think the disappointing part for me is, politicians tell stories when they want to win elections. So there's a space to discount some of the things they said. But, APC promised a lot. They promised a lot. And aside of the actual detail of the promise changed. That it's a big and important thing, because Nigeria under Jonathan, there were many reasons to be angry. There were many reasons why Nigerians will kick out a sitting president, and then take a gamble on a new set of people and say, and especially someone who they had rejected 3 times. It made, forget even the minor details of what they promised. The promise changed. And 2 years down the line, it's difficult to see what's the big issue that APC has grasped and held it in the hand and said, okay, this is one big thing we want to change. Nothing.
Now, talking about change, Rosanwo, you campaigned for this president. Let's produce due process here. And a lot of people accuse you that you're just, what did they call you? You're disappointed for personal reasons. You've not been given an appointment, so that's why you're increasingly getting critical of this presidency. How would you want Buhari to deliver in 2 years when it took many years for the PDP to destroy the country?
Just like Feyi said, the question is not about appointments, personal benefits or not. It's about what was the agenda on the table when we were supporting Mr. President. Change. Jonathan wasn't a good president. There was so much corruption going on. He had been campaigning, he lost 3 times, said, I would make a difference, I would change certain things. In the last 2 years, I've not seen a change. It took him about 6 months to submit ministerial list. The ministerial list, anybody could have written overnight. I mean, there wasn't anything so special about it. Where are the technocrats? The whole economic downfall, the dollar problem and everything could have been avoided if he had simply chosen the right people in the right place. So this is not personal.
Well, he's got a finance minister that is a diaspora and, reached the apex of our career. He's got Fashola in his government. He's got quite a number of other people that are experienced. Who else would he have brought in that would have made a difference?
Perhaps, maybe the expectations of other people in Nigeria is below what I would expect from governors. So, say for example, what's the state of Nigerians themselves? Are they able to feed well? Are they able to... In the first 6 months when the president came on, if you had told Nigerians, jump off the Third Mainland Bridge with me to save Nigeria, they would have jumped with him. People believed in him. 2 years down the lane, what are we experiencing?
Yeah. But one change that is quite obvious, Aisha, and I know you would agree with me, is that this presidency rescued some of our missing Chibok girls. I mean, under Jonathan presidency, not one girl was recovered, but Boko Haram is in retreat. Security in the northeast is getting better. Borno State, I visited 2 years ago, is completely changing. And we only have about 112 girls left, and they've rescued quite a number. That's actually something to be glad about, and thankfully to the efforts of BBOG and a number of Nigerians.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's so much to be glad about in terms of insecurity. In the northeast, in terms of degrading Boko Haram, we have 106 of our Chibok girls back, which is quite different from what we had in the last administration, where there was even doubt that girls were actually abducted. And now we have our military that would run away from Boko Haram, the painful sight of seeing our military run away from Boko Haram. From today, our military degrading Boko Haram. Yeah. We saw a situation where the Boko Haram was sent in notice and said they're coming. Unfortunately, just like what happened in Lagos a few days ago, sending in a notice to say they are coming and actually coming in and carrying out a crime, and which is quite different from today. We saw a situation where we had terrorists that would say they would never negotiate towards a terrorist now coming themselves to ask for that negotiation willing to. So it's done. But then let's talk about something, Kayode. Yeah. When we talk about insecurity, it's not just about the northeast. Okay. Yes, Boko Haram has been degraded, but what about the Fulani herdsmen? What about kidnappings? Just a few days ago in Lagos, a kidnapper sent notes to a school that they were coming to attack. Police were said to be there. They were on. They were around there on siege. I know they laid the siege, and yet the kidnappers came and took them away. For that family, for that school, that's a Chibok that has happened again. And so, as long as people are not secured, you are going through places. A lot of killings have happened. Fulani herdsmen. You have the kidnappers. You have a whole lot of insecurity all around the country. So that's a problem too.
Okay, Aisha, just hang on there. Feyi, you've written quite a lot. I'm actually looking at some of your articles. You've been very consistent in looking at the economic policies of this government. What are the key areas where you think mistakes were made that could have been done differently?
I think if you want to summarize...
And sorry, before you go on, I'd like to remind our viewers that we did invite people from within the presidency. Every time we invite Garba Shehu or Femi Adesina or anyone in the presidency, they've always said no. So we give them a fair chance to come on this program. But thankfully, Laureta Onochie, SA to the president, said she's going to be on this program. So we're still expecting her. She's watching. We're still trying to get in touch with her. So we want to make it fair and balanced. So we invite them. It's their choice to come and defend some of the policies. So talking about the economy, what should they have done differently?
Well, I think the most important thing is that is what I call policy-based evidence. You know, so if we want to do something, right, we look for the evidence, we gather the data, look for the evidence, and say, okay, and then proceed from that point. But the problem was that Buhari, he's a stubborn person. You know, there are times when being stubborn is good. But then he had fixed views, fixed ideas about the economy. And he came into office with those ideas and then started looking for evidence to back up the ideas he already had. This is what led us into the Forex crisis. Wow. You know, because he's basically come in and said, you know, why should the Naira be this rate? You know, why should people use the Naira to buy this or that? You know, and when people with 2 PhDs will tell you that, it is not easy to understand an economy. It is a difficult and complex thing. Yeah. You know, Buhari is not an economist, and nobody even voted for him as an economist. Yeah. You know, some of us thought that, okay, you know, there's some smart people around him. There's Fawehinmi, there's Fashola, there's El Rufai, all these people that is kind of an insurance against the worst excesses of Buhari. You know, so that if we have all these people, then when Buhari wants to go, if he wants to go a bit crazy, we can have people who can, you know, limit him. But so fundamentally, that was the main problem. Coming in with fixed ideas and then trying to force those ideas on a complex country and complex economy. Okay,
now that's one angle. Now, people have accused government of being quite intolerant. Bloggers being arrested. I read on social media, people blog and they're kept in jail. But the evidence is a lot of these bloggers were not arrested directly by Buhari government. In Rivers State, Kemi Olunloyo is under Rivers State command. In different states, can we blame the presidency for the so-called perception about being intolerant to voices of opposition?
I think there are two ways to look at this. There's the intolerance from the police, the soldiers and the military, whatever you call it, and that's been consistent. So coming from a military regime for donkey years, the police and the military still see us as bloody civilians. There's this attack on civilians. It has nothing to do with the president. That's the chain of command. That's how they're trained, and that will take a couple of years to reverse that. The other one is their direct attack on citizens from the aides of the president. Often and often, we've seen the aides of the president, appointed aides of the president, direct attack at individual citizens. I mean, forgetting the fact that you're employed and you're paid by taxpayers. Say, for example, the video Aisha did. I mean, she's a citizen. She has a right to call her president out. She has a right to demand more from the president. I don't care who she voted for. But then, did you see the reply of the PA to Mr. President? Actually took it personal and insulted her.
Okay, Aisha, we'll have you back in a minute. We just want to give Aisha some time. We want our guests in the studio to be able to say more on this. And also, you can now call into the studio. The phone number is 0208-808-0693. We want to thank Aisha, and we hope to bring Laureta Onochie back in, and Aisha will probably join us later. Now, Feyi, Rosanwo did mention something about intolerance, maybe the perception that, okay, because we have a military man there, anti-corruption. That is one area people are giving credit to this government, that, well, there seems to be some momentum.
Well, I mean, I'll give them credit. They have the right idea. So the conversation around corruption has even changed. Previously we had a situation whereby it wasn't even acknowledged that, the country was being stolen blind. Now, if you are going to mark Buhari down on anything, it's actually the incompetence with which the whole anti-corruption fight is being prosecuted. You can't really say that Buhari is okay with corruption, he's encouraging it, or his body language. So it's a question of the approach, the style, but you can give them credit that, at least to an extent. I mean, people are losing stuff. We're seizing stuff from people. I mean, it is not something that has always been happening. It's a small step, but in the right direction. That the fact that you steal and that they can take it back from you. For future hearings, nobody will come and claim the money, and the government seizes the money.
Okay, Rosanwo, the role of the National Assembly is quite key in this. I mean, there is an anti-corruption bill sitting there. So is it that maybe the president is being frustrated by this arm of government, and the momentum is being there's a stopping to that momentum because the perception that the leadership of the National Assembly are not buying into this anti-corruption campaign.
Are you talking about the Ajaku Yanuji Empire?
Well, the whole cabal within the...
All right. First and foremost, the Senate President, the number 3 man in the country, has been facing anti-corruption trial for the last 18 months. That's a shame on the National Assembly, on the country as a whole. I mean, he should have stepped down, faced his anti-corruption trial, and then we can go on with nation building. And look at this. The EFCC chairman is prosecuting about some 20-something senators.
Yeah.
And you expect the same Senate to confirm him? I mean, I can agree there will be excuses, but the National Assembly is not seen to be supporting anti-corruption fight. I don't think they would agree with the president. Remove the old politics. I mean, look at the budget. Look at the oversight. Look, how long has it taken to ask the National Assembly to show us how they spend their budget in details? Now they've gone 2 years. Now in 2017, you think all of a sudden you can show us a budget without a breakdown. So you only want to be accountable going forward. What's happened since 2015 that Saraki and Co have been senators?
Okay, I've got a caller in now. Good evening, Precious.
Yeah, good evening, my brother.
How are you, Precious? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Belgium.
All right, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm in support of the video of Aisha. Like we all Nigeria, we may have our nationality in any country we are into. Does not mean that we don't have the right, to say something when we see things are going bad in Nigeria. We have children. We have a generation that are still in Nigeria. like what she said, I think if Nigeria can, you know, be able to tell themselves the truth, they should understand that all what she said is right.
Okay.
All the whole promises he made, no one have ever been, you know, putting in place. Not only that, the second in command that acting on his behalf, yeah, good and fine, the man is trying, but all these things are eye service.
Yeah.
Many things he's doing, representing him and doing this, showing that, yeah, you can be trustworthy or something of that nature. Many things he's doing is not what he's supposed to do.
Okay.
The president, if he's not able to be there to do something for us as a father, when you're a president, you are a father of the nation.
Okay.
Father cannot be able to provide for his
Precious, I want to thank you for that call, and you actually brought that in mind. Precious is saying here that the acting president, Oshibajo, most of his actions are symbolic. They are not fundamental enough, and she's thinking, well, I'm assuming what she's saying is that the absence of the president has got a huge effect on the way the country is going. Any one of you can...
I don't think so. I mean, he signed some executive orders the other day. You know, that's pretty significant. I mean, he's signing those orders as the president. You know, so it's not as if, to be honest, I didn't even know that Nigeria had executive orders. You know, so and it looks like they've been trying to get Buhari to do it all this while. He didn't do it. You know, so I don't know. It's not. You can't say that's symbolic. You know, stuff like saying if some government agencies don't provide a service within a certain time period, then the service must be provided. You get whatever you applied for automatically. Those are serious issues, you know. Those are, I mean, they're within its purview. So I don't think it's symbolic. I think, I don't know. We haven't discovered what the limit is. Let me put it that way. So the president is away. We know he's away. The acting president is acting. But if we hit a serious issue, then it might come out, and then we might, like when we discovered doctrine of necessity. You know, the paper said one thing, the constitution said one thing. It was supposed to be easy when Yaradua was ill, but then look at, we still took money, billions of dollars, doctrine of necessity for us to get out of that hole. So right now, you know, we don't know. We might hit something tomorrow, and then.
But Oshibajo is actually bringing a new style into governance. Is doing something different. I think there's a sort of calmness to the presidency, and it seems to be accepted around the country. But how long can we have the president away from Nigeria? I think the constitution says 90 days. I'm not the lawyer here, but how long can we now say, come, this is way too long, we need to move forward?
Yes, I have no idea. I can't recall off my head how long the president can be away for. But this is the question. The president is not feeling fine. We all know he's struggling with his health. Either he's sick, ill, whatever the definition is, we don't know. But is it a situation that the president goes out of the country for 40 days or 30 days? It comes back. He stays around for some 4 or 5 months. Then he goes back for another checkup. Then he goes, you know, this intermittent traveling where he cannot stay in office to do his duty. Even when he returned, before he came back to London the last time, I mean, the information minister told us that the president can actually not even report in office. The Aso Rock Villa, his office and his building where he resides is within a certain complex. And look at the old story. The last time the president was in London, Buhari was in London, Feyi Aisha and everyone told us a lot of stories. When the man came back himself, he said, I've never been this sick. Contrary to what his aides told us. When Feyi Aisha, who is the aide to the president, was asked on national TV, have you been speaking to Mr. President? He said no. So we don't have issues with the president handing over. The question is, how long are we going to go on with this? Is it fit or not? Because you just said something. Oshibajo is bringing in a new style. Let's not forget, Buhari is the president. Oshibajo is the acting president.
Okay. All right. We've got a caller, David from London. Good evening, David. And let's just say that Laureta, Onochie, an essay to President Buhari, is going to be joining us via Skype. She's on standby, and we want to thank her for that. David, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Go ahead, please.
How are you, my brother?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I've not expect anything from this government, you know, because it takes 3 to tango, both judiciary, the National Assembly, and the presidency to perform as a government.
Okay.
As you can see now, we have majority in the National
Assembly. When you say we,
but
that's the APC.
Do we really have majority? Saraki is holding the country hostage because the president or the executive cannot perform without the support of the legislators.
Yeah.
You know, many of the things that are supposed to be done, these people are, we call them APC, but they are all PDP in blood, you know. So, and concerning the vice president, he's not an experienced politician, you know, and he doesn't know anything about the economy, even though they call him the chairman of the economic committee or something like that.
Okay.
You know, like, you know, all these big companies, they're supposed to have headquarters in the economic capital of the country.
Yeah.
That is where the admin office is always located. Let me give you an example of Manchester United. They have their headquarters in London, even though they are based in Manchester.
Yeah. Okay, so David, you have to.
By going out
to
promise the Niger Delta that we're going to compare the oil companies, you can't do that because that's lack of experience.
Okay. All right, David. Yeah. We have to let you go. I'm afraid because we need to bring in Laureta Onochie from Abuja, Special Assistant to President Buhari. But before then, let me read your text message. Re-elections of 2015. Did the guests agree that they were too focused on removing Jonathan and oversold the merits of a Buhari presidency? Do they also agree that for effective criticism, it is imperative that they maintain considerable distance from all political sides in the future? That's for both of you. But let me, they're accusing you of focusing too much on removing Buhari. But let me bring in Laureta. Good evening, Laureta. Okay, let me give you the time. Just go ahead and first. That's criticism from one of my viewers that you were too focused on. Everybody was just too focused on the hatred for Jonathan was the primary thing.
It's a valid criticism. I mean, I donated money to the Buhari campaign. You know, I did whatever I could. I called people randomly, convinced them. So it's a valid criticism. I supported him. You know, but it's also valid that there were good reasons to remove Jonathan. We can't run away from that. You know, there were very good reasons. I mean, the country was drifting. You know, it was corruption. There was so much stealing going on. And everything was. He didn't seem in charge. So you know, at the end of the day, democracy most of the time, a lot of times, it's almost like rolling the dice. You know, you can know so much about a leader, but then when they're actually in office, you know, you're going to discover a lot of other things. So it's probably not gone as well as I expected. I admit that. But you know, the other side of the argument, which is also valid, is that there were very, very good reasons to remove Jonathan from office.
Okay. Rosanwo, any quick?
I mean, Jonathan had to go. PDP had to go. We had to have a change of government. I mean, it was democracy. How long were we going to stick with one? So I agree with Feyi. President Jonathan had to go. The alternative was Buhari. We made a choice. But making that choice does not take away our rights to then criticize the same person we supported. We're not blind followers.
Okay. All right, Feyi, I'm going to let you go in a minute, but Rosanwo, just hang on there. Viewers, we've got a surprise for you. Don't go away. But the Vice President opened up Aso Rock to children, young people, public school kids, not kids in Winners Chapel, expensive school, or Redeem Multimillionaires College, but young public school kids were invited to Aso Rock to have a feel of governance. And I think that is a huge one in Nigeria. Aso Rock is an exclusive right of cabals and the powerful in the society. So we say, well done, Buhari's presidency. So just watch this clip of Acting President Oshibajo inviting public school kids to Aso Rock. And when we come back, that surprise will be in the studio.